amount of people saying this is rigged was crazy.
This fight was rigged.
Jake Paul dropped a shocking bombshell after the Anthony Joshua fight, and somehow it echoed louder than the stoppage itself. If the fight sparked controversy, the words that followed poured gasoline on the fire. What he said in the aftermath didn't just raise eyebrows, it split the boxing world overnight. Fans were still processing the result when Paul shifted the narrative entirely, turning a finished fight into an ongoing debate that may last longer than the bout itself.
A horrible concept for a fight. I didn't even watch it. I know everyone, including myself, was saying this is a lose-lose for Jake because even if he won, he would still get laughed at for it, which he is, rightfully so.
The fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua wrapped up just hours ago, but the impact of the result is already being felt everywhere.
From the very beginning, I said there would be no knockouts in this fight. I was very, very firm in that prediction.
Jake Paul was announced as the winner, but even for those who recognize his rise in popularity, the ending didn't feel clear-cut. Not to me, and judging by the reactions, not to many viewers either. The fight was over, the decision was read, yet instead of resolution, it left uncertainty behind. The kind that makes you replay key moments and question whether the outcome truly matched what unfolded in the ring.
Is because it's just boring. It was extremely lackluster, and that was an extremely predictable thing to see from a mile away.
Inside the ring, the first reactions said everything. When the referee stepped in and called it, there wasn't an instant burst of celebration or disbelief. Confusion came first. Anthony Joshua was on the canvas, but he was conscious, responsive, and clearly trying to understand what had just taken place.
You see this man visibly holding back his punches, where he would throw a punch and then he would just not let it connect. He would just drop his hand down.
Jake Paul lifted his arms, but even that reaction seemed hesitant, as if the moment hadn't fully landed. The arena didn't erupt. Instead, there were boos, a few isolated shouts, and an unusual silence you rarely hear when a heavyweight bout reaches its conclusion. It felt less like a final moment and more like something cut short.
When it was clear as day that Jake's face was wide open to receive it. Bro, this is disappointing. This is disappointing.
Before the fight, most predictions followed a familiar pattern. Analysts highlighted Joshua's jab, his patience, and his knack for controlling distance. It wasn't that Jake Paul had no chance, but the expectation was clear. If Joshua stayed composed, he would either stop Paul or win decisively on points. The betting odds mirrored that thinking, growing increasingly confident in Joshua as the rounds went on. That was the general consensus. Even Jake Paul admitted publicly that this wasn't just about hype. It was his toughest challenge yet, the most dangerous opponent he had faced so far.
After everything is said and done, they probably took home a bit more than that. Ain't no telling. I'm hearing north of 80 million for Jake and anywhere between 60 to 75 million for Mike Tyson from my understanding.
That's why the ending felt so jarring. Early in the fight, Joshua did exactly what people expected. Controlled his distance, stayed measured, and avoided reckless exchanges. Jake Paul had his moments, but nothing that made victory seem inevitable. When the knockdown came, it didn't feel like a knockout punch that instantly ended the fight. It was a powerful strike, yes, but followed by a brief lapse in balance. Joshua hit the canvas, but he remained very much aware of what was happening.
This fight was rigged. I could be wrong. I can't even say that because in my gut, I don't feel like I am.
Almost instantly, all eyes turned to the referee. To many viewers, the count seemed quick, and the call to stop the fight came abruptly. In heavyweight boxing, there's usually a bit more leeway for fighters to recover, especially champions and former champions known for their toughness. That's not favoritism, it's standard practice. This time, however, that window felt unusually narrow. When the fight was stopped, it seemed like the decision prioritized speed over certainty.
He's not moving like he was during training. He didn't hit the signature Mike Tyson.
By the start of the second round, the fight's rhythm was already becoming clear, and it wasn't shaping up in Jake Paul's favor. About 3 minutes and 10 seconds into the round, Anthony Joshua found his groove. Boxing trainers watching closely could see it instantly. He was using a disciplined, probing jab, not necessarily to inflict damage, but to control distance and dictate the pace of the fight.
Sport for a year now, and like I probably shouldn't be saying this, but all of this shit's fucking rigged. You know, you see people whining and dining each other. You see people at Staples Center. This sport's rigged.
Joshua's lead hand kept a steady rhythm, connecting just enough to unsettle Paul and disrupt his balance without leaving himself open. The live CompuBox statistics shown during the DAZN broadcast highlighted the difference. Joshua landed 11 jabs in the second round alone, while Paul managed just 4 total punches in that same period.
And we saw it play out. What we saw here was a clear indication that Mike was holding back, not doing the things that we know come natural to him when he's in the ring and ready to go.
Jake Paul's behavior during this stretch was revealing. Instead of moving laterally, he repeatedly retreated straight toward the ropes, particularly along the north-facing side near the blue corner. Commentators Todd Grisham and Sergio Mora highlighted this in real time around the 2:05 mark of the round, noting that Paul's footwork appeared less confident than it had in his August 2024 fight. Mora also observed that Paul's timing was slightly off, especially when attempting to counter Joshua's jab with an overhand right.
And we saw it play out. What we saw here was a clear indication that Mike was holding back, not doing the things that we know come natural to him when he's in the ring and ready to go.
What caught the attention of ringside reporters wasn't just the action inside the ropes, but what was unfolding outside them. Several journalists, including Jake Donovan from Boxing Scene and ESPN's Mike Coppinger, later commented on the judge's behavior during round 2. One judge on the west side seemed to be writing notes less frequently than expected, while another kept glancing toward the referee during exchanges. While none of this proved anything on its own, it was unusual enough to spark discussion after the fight.
Look, alleged, because you gotta say it right. Alleged, it's alleged.
Those observations became even more pronounced as the fight progressed. From the opening bell of round 3, Joshua began putting together combinations with greater confidence. Around 6:42 into the fight, he landed a clean left jab, followed by a straight right that snapped Paul's head back, prompting an audible reaction from the crowd. Paul stayed on his feet, but his counterattacks were limited. Unofficial CompuBox stats shared during the broadcast showed Joshua landing 18 punches in the round, while Paul managed just 9, mostly single shots rather than sustained combinations.
I was born at night, but not last night.
The energy of the crowd was impossible to ignore. Every time Joshua landed cleanly, especially with his right hand, the arena erupted. Around 7:55, after a 3-punch combination that finished with a right to the body, the crowd jumped to their feet. This wasn't biased cheering. It was a response to the momentum in the fight. Even Jake Paul's corner reacted more intensely, with trainer BJ Flores shouting instructions with greater urgency than in earlier rounds.
There was no anything worthwhile. As I said from the beginning, this is just a cash grab. It is 2 athletes getting a payday, and
despite the action in the ring, the unofficial post-fight scorecards raised eyebrows. Reports indicated that 2 of the 3 judges had given round 3 to Paul, a decision that surprised many analysts watching the live broadcast. Former world champion Timothy Bradley, speaking on ESPN's post-fight panel around 23:40 into the show, stated clearly that he would have given the round to Joshua, citing clean punches and ring control. This early discrepancy became one of the first technical flashpoints in the controversy that followed.
a legend, but he's also a man, and there is no man that can beat Father Time. Time is undefeated, and it always will be.
Round 4 marked a decisive shift in the fight's momentum. Around 9:18, Joshua landed a right hand that visibly rocked Jake Paul. Paul's legs stiffened as he retreated toward the ropes near the neutral corner. The moment was brief but unmistakable. Joshua followed up carefully, throwing a left hook that narrowly missed before stepping in again. What drew attention was how quickly the referee, standing slightly to Joshua's left, intervened during the next exchange. Several punches that seemed to land cleanly were cut off before either fighter could fully capitalize. By this point, the momentum was clearly swinging in Joshua's favor.
Early, from what I can tell, he ran out of steam by like the second round almost entirely, at least from what I've...
Joshua's confidence continued to grow. He stood upright and relaxed, while Paul's movements became tighter and increasingly defensive. Ringside cameras captured Joshua's corner nodding in approval around 9:45, while Paul's corner looked noticeably tense. This round would later become a focal point in post-fight discussions, not for its ending, but for how much control Joshua seemed to have established. Then came the defining moment. With roughly 18 seconds remaining in round 4, around 10:42 on the fight clock, Jake Paul threw a looping overhand right. It wasn't textbook, wide and almost slung from the shoulder, but it landed near Joshua's temple as he stepped slightly to his left. Joshua went down to one knee, his right glove touching the canvas first.
It was always going to be an incredibly difficult challenge to fight someone as young as Jake Paul.
What happened next sparked intense debate. Joshua immediately tried to get up. By the count of 3, he was already lifting himself off the canvas, and by 4, he was on one knee, eyes focused and alert. The referee began counting almost instantly, with very little pause after the knockdown. Several analysts later pointed out that the pace of the count felt faster than usual. By 6, Joshua was fully upright, hands raised and feet firmly beneath him. Visually, he appeared balanced and aware, tracking the referee with his eyes and taking a step forward around 7. Yet, at 8, the referee waved the fight off, signaling the stoppage. The arena's reaction was immediate and loud. Boos erupted from multiple sections, including those closest to the ring.
I am not surprised that Jake won this fight, and people are already clowning on him for it, saying that he's already booked his next fight against Joe Biden and then his following fight against Jimmy Carter. Jake Paul hurts more elderly people than a staircase. He's built a reputation of just challenging.
Slow-motion replays quickly aired across multiple networks. DAZN, ESPN, and Sky Sports all showed the sequence from at least 3 different angles. From the overhead shot, Joshua's posture appeared steady, while the ringside view showed his eyes clear and focused. These replays immediately fueled debate among commentators, with former fighters questioning whether the stoppage met the usual standards applied in high-level heavyweight bouts.
I know everyone, including myself, was saying this is a lose-lose for Jake because even if he won, he would still get laughed at for.
Technical criticism emerged almost immediately once the replay began circulating across broadcasts, focusing on subtle details that experienced boxing observers notice instinctively. When the referee stepped in, Joshua's eyes were alert and tracking, clearly responsive. This was evident in the DAZN slow-motion replay aired around 12:18 a.m. Eastern on December 20th. He wasn't staring blankly or blinking excessively. His gaze followed the referee, and his head moved naturally as he adjusted his stance. For ringside analysts, eye focus is often the first sign of whether a fighter is truly compromised, and in this case, it didn't align with the urgency of the stoppage. These observations fueled a broader narrative among fans across platforms on December 20th and into the early hours of December 21st, that boxing was once again favoring money over merit, not through direct claims, but through patterns, timing, and silence. The controversy didn't arise from a single punch or decision. It was built over a series of moments.